Looks like Shredberg has named King Meat More Good. Meat is more good.
It's pretty
Wise
good.
words. Well, and it looks like Shredberg is just going to be Madeline at this time.
I guess
That's
King just
creative.
didn't respond with the name.
All right, here we are on prologue. So the prologue of this game, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you're gonna see our runners bunny hopping in the beginning because they don't have a dash, and when you're bunny hopping, it saves a couple, 1 or 2 frames for each hop because you're accelerating.
And now the bird teaches these runners how to dash. Ryutek just asked what the PBs are. I'll just say it one more time. Shredberg has a 49.54 and King has a 46.09. Those are the updated PBs that I got from the runners.
So we're going done with the prologue and then get right into chapter 1.
So chapter 1 is where the player starts to have full control of all of the mechanics that are available to them. So with the dash being one of the most important of them, what we just saw from Shredberg and King, both in various sections, is a wall bounce, which is a vertical dash up a wall followed by a jump to get some of that dash momentum into their jump. Shredberg using the momentum of that block there in order to boost himself higher. These runners seem to be using fairly safe strats, not the speediest of strats, but what they were doing, they're executing quite well.
You're gonna see these runners use a momentum of various objects in the environment to really give them some speed.
Ah, very nice. Wave dash by Shredberg under that zipper in order to, and then a dash up to get through that room pretty much quicker. And both runners now in the final rooms of chapter 1, the shortest chapter in the game. King finishing up. Shredberg still having a little trouble in the second to last room there. And Shredberg now finishing up. Let's take a look at those times. King starting chapter 2 with a 2:15. Shredberg with a 2:30. So starting to fall behind here, but nothing that can't be taken up. King now interacting with a mirror, and now he has activated the dream blocks. These are cool blocks. You can dash through them, like jelly, space jelly. They act like walls if you're not dashing through them. If you dash through them into a wall, though, you die. So be careful there.
They're also going to refresh their dashes, so you're going to see them take advantage of that in various sections of this chapter.
Yeah, great point. A lot of the mechanics in this game, like the environmental mechanics, will refresh your dash, which you can usually only use once in the air before touching the ground again. King is now in the battle and chase. He is being chased by the darker element of himself. She follows behind him in a 3-second delay. So we're going to see how he tries to get through these levels while avoiding her. And Shredberg also entering this section. Both runners very close to each other right now.
Shredberg was going for the couple pixels where you can diagonal through the dream block, but decided to go for the safer strat.
Yeah, you can definitely lose a lot of time if you fail that too many times. Ooh, Shredberg missing that final lock switch, but making it around to Battle End anyway. King J now actually in the last Battle End room, hitting that last lock switch there, and he got through it no problem. So that's some great execution.
It was impressive. He actually went between some battle ends.
Yeah. King is basically now out of danger in this chapter. He just has to finish up the rest of the level as quickly as possible, which is a little harder than it sounds because there's a lot of ways to get caught on these various momentum-killing things like little ledges, changes in the terrain, and like springs on the ground. Shredberg, meanwhile, finishing up getting into the last room in the battle and fight. A very long room, so I should just mention that deaths in this game are expected, and they happen a lot. And the time they lose is pretty much dependent on how much time you've spent in the room so far, because you just respawn at the beginning of the room. But if you die at the end of a very long room, then that's a lot of time lost. But Shredberg also making it through just fine. He's going to be mopping up this level as King J moves ahead into Chapter 3.
Movement with his hypers are also very clean right now.
Oh man, chat apparently thinks something bad happened to Shredberg, but I must have missed it.
I can't recall either.
So King J is now in the Celestial Resort, and this is where the game, I think, starts to really show its difficulty. You have these little red and black dust bunnies, which travel in circles or back and forth. They're pretty significant obstacles. They move in cycles. So getting through those cycles quickly without dying is definitely a challenge in this chapter. Shredberg now joining in Chapter 3.
Ooh, that's right.
Not a very costly death.
Yeah.
But King J has been doing very well and getting through these streams deathless so far. So so not much time to be gained there. Ooh, King J taking a death there after about 5 seconds in that room. The tricky room here with the 3 rotating dust bunnies. Shredberg heading up now to get the key in the reception area. Confidently done. Apparently Shredberg took several deaths in Battle and Chase Room. Sorry, I missed that. Lots of keys to collect in this chapter. King J now finishing up, just about to finish up the reception area and head into Chapter 3. Head into Huge Mess. You want to give a brief overview of Huge Mess, Mike?
Sure. So there are 3 portions of Huge Mess that we need to get into. Each portion clearing up some more debris in this main lobby here. And when it's all done, we'll be able to get the key right there in the middle to go to the next part of the chapter.
Yep. This is a neat little part of the game, just because every section that you go through will make the next sections a little bit harder, regardless of the order, because it takes away some of the walls and floors that you could be using otherwise to make it a little bit safer. The speedrunning route is pretty much set, though, just because of the positioning of Oshiro, who you need to talk to at the end of each section. Shredberg also in Huge Mess now. It's a pretty difficult room to move through cleanly, just because of all that clutter. King J hitting now the first button, so he just cleaned up all the boxes. So you'll see the Huge Mess now for him is a little bit less cluttered than it used to be. Shredberg only a couple rooms behind him. I didn't actually see if King J went for the spike jump or not. I know that Shredberg didn't.
He did.
Okay.
I don't believe he did either.
That's fine. It only saves a couple seconds, and only if you can get it, on the first try.
No matter what order you clear these rooms, Oshiro will always be in the same spot. So the speedrunners will take the same path
right,
because of where he's going to be.
So King J has finished up the second button and is now on his way into the third section, the laundry section, whereas Shredberg is entering the second section. So still just a few rooms behind, but this does tend to be the chapter we start to see that gap widen between the runners of different skill levels.
Yeah, chapter 3 is a pretty difficult portion of this run.
Definitely. King just hit his 3rd button, so he will be on his way to get the key and go to the elevator shaft.
Yeah, his mess is fully cleaned up. So now we're gonna go talk to Oshiro, and he's gonna lead us to the next part of the hotel here.
Here comes the elevator shaft on King J's side. A little bit of a tricky section. He gets to it no problem. There are a lot of long rooms in this section. This can be a little bit frustrating. So we'll see how these runners handle it. Shredberg just behind, really not very far behind at all. I'm going to go ahead and switch the audio over to King as he's in the lead right now. Shredberg making his way through that lockswitch room very nicely. This room that Shredberg is in right now, very long room. That wasn't such a bad death. The real bad deaths come later after you've made it through most of the way through this room. King J looks like he took the slower strat through that room, but he still made it through without dying, which is very nice to get the key. He retried once he got the key. It's a little death warp because the keys follow you even if you die. So he just skipped a few seconds by killing himself instead of having to go all the way back. Shredberg also taking the safer route, but not all that safe. Actually, that was a pretty quick strat considering he wasn't using hypers there. King J now in the Oshiro chase section. Oshiro is going to come at you. He's angry at you. He comes at you from the left side of the screen, charges at you horizontally. So the challenge is to get through all of these cycles that already were there, and then you have this guy also charging at you in the meantime to make things a little bit harder. Shredberg just now also entering the Oshiro section. Nice little bop there from Shred.
Good avoiding there by King. There's always one part of in the Oshiro chase sequence where he will try to come at you at the most inopportune time.
Yeah. Definitely, especially in this last room, King J is in right now, probably the longest room in Chapter 3. Really bad to die in this room, so let's see if he can get through it in one go. It's doing alright so far. Very nicely done by King. What I'm seeing from these runners is unfortunate Shredberg getting caught up there in the dust along the walls. A lot of these walls and floors, you can only touch them once, and then you can't backtrack them again. What we're seeing from these runners is a lot of safer strats, but pretty good execution of them. So not like the really fancy like tons of hypers and like ultras and corner bursts and stuff, but they're doing pretty well.
Especially
I did just see a nice hyper and bunny hop by Shredberg there though.
It's important in a race scene where consistency can definitely beat the ability to go fast inconsistently.
Right. Shredberg just taking a very unfortunate death. Just got it clipped by Oshiro in the middle of that room. Oh, so King J is now in Golden Ridge. You want to go over some of the new mechanics in Golden Ridge, Mike?
Yeah, so you have a green bubble that allows you to travel in a short distance, and you also have wind that will push you in a direction. For this chapter, it's usually left or right, and going inside of a bubble will give you your dash back. And you have these arrow blocks that you are able to move in specific directions, up or down or left to right.
Yeah. King skipping another little spike jump there, but it's fine. Also, it only saves a couple seconds, and that's only if you get it on the first try. So we are seeing the benefits of taking some safer strats here and doing it well. Unfortunately, King for Shredberg, King is really widening his gap here because Shredberg is taking a lot of deaths in this Oshiro room over here, this final Oshiro room, while King is really just making his way through Golden Ridge with no problem. He's already halfway through. So definitely, this lead of King is going to be increasingly hard for Shred to overcome. Another death by Shred in this long, very painful room. So that's unfortunate for him.
It seems like he's always getting to near the end of the room before he dies, which makes the deaths even worse.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, Shredberg in the chat. Well, he got through it in the end. So the bubbles, like many of the mechanics in this game, do give your dash back. A lot of thought was put into the speedrunning mechanics of this game to try to make things as fluid as possible.
They didn't want you to have to sacrifice the dash to get somewhere and only just be stranded there because you wasted your dash.
Right. The dash is a limited mechanic, but there's a lot of ways to refresh it. So Chapter 4 does include some auto-scrollers like we just saw on King's screen. These in the form of these moving blocks that you sort of have to keep on in order to make it to the end of the level. A lot of these auto-scrollers do have ways to skip them, or at least large sections of them. But it's really up to the runners to see how comfortable they are with it. I did miss the first auto-scroller of King. I didn't see if he went for a skip or not. King is now in the final section of Golden Ridge. This features very high winds. This is called the cliff face. It's very hard to make any forward progress in this level without using dashes or other speed tech like hyper dashes or dash jumps. Looks like King is mostly going for kind of the slow and steady route here, mainly just dashing to get forward, but it seems to be working out mostly pretty well for him. He did overshoot that spring over there just a bit. Shredberg, meanwhile, working his way up through the shrine, pretty close to the halfway through the level. He's up to the first auto-scroller now. Let's see if he goes for a skip or not. I'm guessing probably not, but yeah, he's not. He's taking the safe route. That's fine. King is just a few screens away now from finishing Golden Ridge. Ooh, Shredberg has to climb all the way back up there in order to get his dash back because he used it up accidentally. But he does manage to make it without dying, which does save him a little bit of time. And
we saw that forward win there for King, being able to just make him breeze through that portion of the level.
Yeah, the wind can blow in both directions, so definitely changes things up. I didn't catch the death count on King there, but I think he's getting through these levels with very few deaths. So, not using the fastest strats, but doing what he knows pretty well. You want to explain a little bit about some of the new mechanics we'll be seeing in Chapter 5?
Yeah, so there's blocks that will, I'll call activate when you dash, going in a certain direction. And there are also red bubbles introduced that do not have a range on them. Their range is when you hit the wall or when you dash.
Yep.
Also later on we'll see a new enemy introduced.
Just increasing the audio a bit on King's side, since I saw a mention in chat about that. So Mirror Temple is kind of it's a dark and spooky level. Some scary stuff happens a bit later. This is the more tranquil part of the level. King making his way through it pretty well. There are a lot of like secrets hidden in this level. A lot of kind of puzzly aspects involving the dash blocks. In any percent, we pretty much just skip past all of those. Misdirectional bubble on that.
Wrong direction.
Very long horizontal room on King's screen.
I'm interested to see if these runners are going to go for the search skip. It's the same significant amount of time, so I would hope so.
Yeah, considering these winners, you know, are in the 40s, I think we'll probably see search skip. It's really hard to get a good time without that. Honestly, it saves so much time. Shredberg has been having a little bit of trouble in Cliff Face, but he is finishing up pretty soon now. Ooh, another death.
King activating the mirror here. And introducing the Seekers now to the chapter. They're in certain rooms, and they will always be chasing after Madeline whenever they can see her.
Yep. This is a pretty neat way to introduce the mechanics of the Seekers by letting you play as one yourself before you encounter them. Shredberg just finishing up the last room of Golden Ridge quite nicely, and now he'll be joining King in Chapter 5. King has a pretty strong lead now, though, so probably will not be seeing an upset in this race. So King is now in the spooky part of Chapter 5, and we see a lot of tentacles and everything. They're basically just spikes.
It's like Chapter 3 where if we ran onto the walls, then the tentacles came out, but now they're just there.
Right.
Like the spikes.
So what we're seeing from King right now is you can manipulate the Seekers in order to run into the lock switches and save you some trouble. So he'll be doing that to save a little bit of time, so he doesn't have to get them himself. It's worth mentioning that both players are actually in this race are actually playing on Switch, which means there are some updates that they haven't gotten yet, including things like the Seekers explosions from respawn being able to trigger the lock switches. So there are some strats that a lot of players use that these guys won't really be able to take advantage of at this point in the Switch update cycle. Shredberg now entering the depths of the temple. King is out of Unraveling. That was a pretty well-executed Unraveling by him. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest movement, but he really didn't die much at all.
And we're going to see him go for search skip.
Here we go. First try search skip. Very nice.
Awesome.
Search skip is a really major skip in this game. Probably the biggest single time save of any one strat in this game. It basically saves about 2 to 3 minutes of movement that you'd otherwise have to do in this big dark labyrinth.
You have to collect 2 keys to open up the path for a bubble to travel through there, or you can do a reverse dash jump to clear that gap.
Yeah. King now baiting the Seeker into hitting that block so he can hit the lock switch. And he's finishing up the search section right now. Skipped most of it. And now he's heading into the Theo section, rescue. And Shredberg heading right now into Unraveling, just about at the mirror.
The Theo portion of this level is really interesting. He can block Seekers that are about to hit you if you touch him with Theo. And you also can throw him and then dash and then pick him up, and you maintain your momentum. You'll see our runners take advantage of that.
Yeah. The movement in this section is pretty tricky because you can't actually dash while you're carrying Theo. So if you want to move quickly, whoa, that looked kind of weird on Shredberg's screen. It looked like when he was in the Seeker form and chasing Madeline, she was sort of like in a weird position and like running back and forth. I don't really know what that was.
Interesting.
Maybe it's like a weird switch thing or something. I don't know what I was seeing there. King, very nice there, jumping onto that Seeker to get the height he needs to throw Theo into the button. Or into the lock switch, I'm sorry. So yeah, this section has a lot of very technical movement. It's pretty tricky to get through, just because of the limitations that Theo puts on you in this crystal, and how slowly you move with him, and how much more difficult it is to move quickly when you have him, when you have to escort him to the exit.
add in enemies attacking you and all the moving blocks, it can be a chore to maintain. Or to
Yeah, it takes all of the mechanics that have already been challenging, and it just adds this whole new complication to it. Shredberg is now in the final room of Unraveling. Definitely a difficult room here. Let's see how he gets through it. It looks like he bamboozled the secret at the beginning, so that it won't bother him so much. Hopefully he can get through this last switch without getting hit. He looks like he's in good shape. Yeah, he's through.
Like he's good.
And King just finishing up Chapter 5 by throwing the Theo at that giant eyeball. So he's in pretty good shape there. Only 6 deaths in the whole Mirror Temple. You know, King is really showing, you know, good mastery over these relatively casual strats, but like, it still really helps to not die. I mean, dying in this game is definitely the biggest time loss.
Yeah, Shredberg getting the second attempt skip. Still very good by him.
Yeah, still pretty decent. Still losing a little bit of time over King because he got it first try, but still saving a lot of time over the casual.
You're saving 3 minutes. It's still a pretty significant save.
Yeah, definitely. I doubt we're going to see any of the runners go for leg skip, not just because of their relative skill, but also because they're on switch, so they don't have the extra permissive wall bounces. So leg skip is a pixel perfect strat for them right now, and they're not even going to bother to try.
Ooh, King almost dying there. The spikes barely gets that feather.
So these feathers, they're a new mechanic in Chapter 6. Once you get them, you turn into like this little golden ball that can travel like omnidirectionally for a short period of time. And this is actually one section where a lot of runners will switch to analog stick if they've been usually playing with D-pad, because the feathers allow you full analog control. And it's a little bit faster to use analog because if your turning angle is very slight, then you don't lose any speed.
Yeah, you have to be within 13 degrees of a turn angle to maintain full speed, and you cannot get that on a D-pad.
So King is attempting... So he did get it eventually. He was attempting a wall bounce up there, followed by neutral jumps to clear one section of the room. It did take him a while to get into the position he wanted. So I'm not sure if he really saved much time overtaking the Kevin, but that's fine. Shredberg missing that switch on the first try, but getting it on the second. He's still making his way through Theo. Not doing bad there. Let's see if he can... Oh, he lost all the momentum on that dash block, unfortunately, but at least he didn't die. Oh, and very nice. He crushed the Seeker. Yeah, it's always fun to do that, just because those guys are such jerks. You know, they give you such trouble. It's nice to crush them every once in a while.
So a couple of things here in Chapter 4. We have the bumpers that will push you in the direction that you hit it in, and again regain your dash, and you have the Kevin blocks.
Very nice final theorem by Shredberg there. He got through that no problem. He used a strat that looks like it was borrowed from Bentizi's videos, which I also learned from. So.
Yeah. But I'm also learning from as well.
Nice. And Shredberg finishes up Chapter 5. He still has a pretty good run going. Also, 5 deaths from Shredberg in Chapter 5. These runners, like, you know, they haven't learned all the speed strats yet, but they're very consistent at what they do, which is really nice to see.
It's also interesting to note that the number of deaths also doesn't correlate to necessarily how bad you were doing to reinforce this, because King had 1 or 2 more deaths than Shred did, but Shred has been losing more time because he's died further into a stage than King has.
Very true. Where you die is at least as important as how many times you die. Like that death that King just took in that bumper room was pretty bad because just how long it takes to get through to that last part of the section. But he makes it through on the second try just fine. And he is now through Hollows, basically almost done with the first half of Chapter 6. And he's now making his way down to the Chapter 6 fight with Battlin. Sort of the epic boss battle of this game. Shredberg, meanwhile, making his way up into the lake and then to hollows. I'm going to be curious to see if any of these runners go for I guess I already missed it on King's screen if he went for those drops through the crystal spikes.
He did get both of them. He didn't do the third one.
Oh, that's kind of what I was expecting, because the first two have really easy setups that are impossible to miss, and the third one is much trickier. So good on.
Oh, King just hitting a retry instead of a cutscene skip.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Not much of a time loss, but it does kind of dampen your enthusiasm a bit. The input sequence to skip the cutscene is exactly the same as the input sequence to retry the level and kill yourself, basically. So if you don't hit that cutscene trigger before you try it, then you might end up losing some time. It looks like Shredberg is taking the top route in Hollows. There are actually multiple branching paths here.
Apparently, there's no better path one could argue, but overall, they're pretty much the same.
So King is now in the Battle and fight. So basically the goal is to run into Battlein over and over until she exits the next screen. There's no way to progress without actually running into her. So he's going to have to fight this out the hard way, just by ramming his face into her over and over again.
Even if you try to progress the shadows, it won't let you get past the shadows. You'll actually hit the edge of the screen and you'll die, just like falling.
Okay. So, this is actually interesting. Shredberg taking the top route here. The earlier top route he took was actually pretty standard. I misspoke there, but this one is not done by as many runners. But he did get through that pretty nicely. So you'll see Battlein has two modes of attack. Basically, she shoots these fireballs at you, and she shoots those lasers. So just getting in to hit her, avoiding all the other hazards while avoiding those attacks. Oh, wow. That was a really nice hyper and bunny hop towards Battlein. That's something you see, a lot of more skilled runners doing, but it's definitely more notable when a guy like King does it, because he definitely favors the safer strats. So you can definitely see that he's starting to incorporate some of the safe strats into his gameplay, and that's just part of the cycle of improving your times of this game.
I think he's also gotten good enough movement throughout his run so far that he's starting to feel himself, so he's going to get more confident.
Yeah, that may be true.
Really haven't seen too many, really any more deaths.
So, Shredberg here taking this. Looks like he took the safer route through the top view, but he's actually trying the harder shortcut now that he has this checkpoint. And he did fail it a few times, but let's see if he can get it. Okay, he got it on maybe the third or fourth try. I didn't quite see it.
I believe it was the third try.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing. I usually would expect to see less experienced runners go for the first two, but not the third one, instead of the other way around. But there is a checkpoint right there, so I can understand what he was thinking.
King getting his level up, so we are now able to dash twice.
Yep, this is the reward for beating your other self into submission, is that now she joins you, and now you can dash twice in the air. So King just now finishing up Chapter 6, while Shredberg enters the Chapter 6 battle and fight. So they're about half a chapter behind at this point. Probably a good, 4 minutes, 4-minute lead. Did you manage to catch the death count on King's Chapter 6 there? I missed it.
I was watching Shredberg.
It's alright. We'll see at the end.
I'm interested to see the totals, because overall, both runners are playing pretty fantastic.
Yeah. You want
Looking at the
to
wall thing.
give a quick rundown on what Chapter 7 is all about?
Yeah, so Chapter 7 is the summit. It incorporates chapters 1 through 6, starting with Chapter 6, then going 1 through 5. It uses their mechanics, and adding the double dash makes for some very interesting stages.
Indeed. Another notable thing about Chapter 7 is just its sheer length. It is by far the longest chapter in the game. For like a skilled runner, like top runners, it's actually like a third of the entire run. To get a summit that's less than 9 minutes is very impressive.
The reason it's so long is because of all the different sections that are incremented by 500 meters. Each 500 meters will change the chapter that you're on. So we're in 500 now, so King is now on chapter 1, I believe.
Yep. So now we see the return of these zipper blocks from chapter 1. We didn't use them that much in chapter 1 for the most part because there were other ways around them, but definitely using them now because there's a lot of gaps to cross that need the momentum from them.
Even though you do have the double jump, you're still not going to get the sheer distance that you need without those blocks.
Yep. Shredberg is making his way through the battle line fight pretty well. I haven't seen any major mistakes from him thus far.
I've seen 1 or 2 medium-sized deaths, but overall it was very good.
Yeah.
2/3 of the way done with it.
Yeah, he's entering the last third of it right now, I would say. So King getting through 500 meters now into 1,000 meters. So here we have the return of the dream blocks, my personal favorite mechanic.
I love the dream blocks there. It just makes your movement so fluid.
Yeah, it just like feels really good to dash through them. On Shredberg's screen right now, you see in this last third of the battle and fight, she starts kind of getting all telekinesis-y and moves these blocks around on cycles. So,
Ooh, by the laser
not
there.
a great death there. I believe he's on the second to last screen of the battle and fight right now. But did take a couple of deaths there. That's unfortunate. King now, dash right through the dream block right into the wall. But that happened right at the beginning, so not too bad. Alright, Shredberg in the final room of the battle and fight, and King now making his way into 1,500 meters. One of the most difficult parts of the game, probably, because it's like the resort, which is a very difficult section, but this is definitely turned up to 11 right now.
Yeah, take all the mechanics from Chapter 3 and just throw them all in a mix mash of everything, and you have this part.
Shredberg getting through the last screen of the battle and fight very well. So he'll be leveling up and entering the summit just shortly. Nice long. Let's see. Okay, he got it. That's a very long room. 1,500 meters has a lot of very long rooms that are very punishing if you die in them. So that one in particular that he just got through is very difficult. This one too. There is a really cool strat here that uses like 3 ultra dashes, but that's pretty like top tier, and definitely would not expect that.
The bulls here are really unforgiving because they seem to move slower than they actually are, and you'll just get caught by them.
Yeah. But he's making it through 1,500 with. Were there any deaths at all? I didn't see any.
I'm at a loss. Pretty clean overall.
Anyway, we're really seeing like really low deaths, low numbers of deaths, which is great. All right, 2,000 meters. That's the Golden Ridge section. A lot of auto scrollers here. We're probably not going to see the big auto scroller skip, but we'll stay tuned for it anyway in case it happens. Oh, so King is actually taking the lower route here. A lot of speedrunners don't see this because the berry route is faster, but it's a little bit tricky to get up into the berry route. So So it's not so weird to see that happen.
And shredberg about to get up to 500 meters.
Yep, he's almost done there. This is a very long, tough snowball room that King just got through with no problems. Here's the auto scroller that has a big skip. We're probably not going to see it. Let's see if it goes for it. Nope, he's not.
No,
he's taking the safe route, but that's fine.
Ooh, just misses the block there.
Shredberg does do a little spicy movement in that 500 meter room. Not grabbing onto the zipper, but going under it and then up the other side to save some time. So that's cool. Another auto scroller on King's screen. This one is much harder to skip. You can only really skip a second of this, and it's arguable if it's even worth it.
Oh, you have the wind to back going forward, so it's that room pretty easy.
Shredberg looks like he's trying some other kind of speedy strats here, but he's failing a couple times. He's trying to... Okay, so he tried to avoid grabbing the ice block and try to get under it and around it instead, but that wasn't working out, so he just defaulted to the safety strat. There's a very long, involved room here where you have to catch all these purple battle line orbs and get to the exit. It's basically just about memorizing where she's going to be. No problems for King.
Shredberg also up to 1,000 meters.
Yep, making his way through. Ooh, that was a close one.
That was right on the edge of the dream block.
But he didn't take a death, so all good. Oh.
I hate to see that.
Missed that horizontal. Just a miss dash, causing a few seconds of a loss there. King now in 2,500 meters. This is the Mirror Temple section of the summit. Very cool section. There's a lot of interesting stuff you can do here. Let's see what these runners go for. Relatively safe through that big movie block section. Looks like King is not going to go for the key skip, which is, expected.
It's only like 15-20 seconds extra just to get this bubble to get the key.
Yeah, it's not much of a time save, especially if you can't get it on the first couple tries.
Shredberg on the last portion here.
Yeah, Shredberg just finishing up 1,000. By the way, that thing we mentioned about the skip cutscene versus retry is a danger at the end of every one of these summit sections.
Yep, you would have to go and get every orb again.
Oh, it looks like King is going for door skip. At least he went for it twice. Let's see if he does it again. He's going for it.
Yeah,
he really wants to get
it a
door
couple
skip.
more attempts at least.
This is what happens when a skip becomes a meme. You have people going for it and wasting a lot of time. but you have to respect it. He's doing it for the fans.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can get part 2. Oh no.
Ooh. Giving Shredberg a chance
all
to
right, he's
up.
giving up after like 4 attempts. That was a valiant attempt. We all appreciate it. Giving Shredberg a little bit of a chance to make up some time here.
Very nice hyper there by Shredberg getting through that room.
Yeah. All right. King making it through that final, very long 2,500 room. Really good that he didn't take a death there. It's a very costly room if you die. So King is now in the final section of 30,000 meters. I'm sorry, to 3,000 meters. This is the final segment of the game. He's going to be finishing up fairly soon now, just a few minutes. There are 30 flags here that act as checkpoints. So chat can feel free to count down if they so wish. You can explain the like wind mechanics here and the final moment of summit if you want.
Yeah, sure. So for most of the portion of the final climb, you have downward wind, so gravity is enhanced, which makes it very difficult to jump and dash upward. So take everything you knew about the game movement-wise and kind of just throw a portion of it out the window. Until we get at least higher up, then it'll switch to upward wind, which will decrease the gravity and give us a different change of how the level is laid out.
Yep. Yeah, 3,000 meters. I mean, Summit in general doesn't have that many new mechanics, but these new mechanics it does add in 3,000 meters are notable in the way that they completely change the entire way that the game movement feels. Whereas in other chapters, it's just like new objects in the environment that you can interact with in various ways. In 3,000 meters, it's actually the entire like movement style that has changed. So it definitely takes some getting used to.
You can see the upward wind right now on King's screen. It's almost like you're in a water level.
Yeah, very floaty. It can actually be a little bit annoying when you're trying to go quickly because of the very slow way that you fall. So you might see some runners here like trying to fall a little bit faster. You can fall faster by holding down in the air. So we might see some of that. King just made it through probably the most punishing flag of 3,000 meters with no problem. It's only punishing just because it's kind of difficult and kind of long, and the most difficult part is right at the end. Shredberg is now in the 2,000 meter section, so he's really not that far behind at all. Oh, nice swag berry there by Shredberg. Very nice.
King also missing the checkpoint right there, but no problem. He gets the next flag.
There is. Let's see. Let me remind myself what King's PB is. I think it's a low 36. Low 46, I'm sorry. Which means that based on his current position, he actually is on a really good pace for a PB, I believe, if he can get through this last bit competently. So let's see what happens.
Already had a number of PBs in this tournament so far. Just to add one more to the record. It's very impressive. We're runners that can do this.
This tournament is really putting the pressure on and really getting, like, really just squeezing the most out of a lot of these runners. There have been so many PBs in this tournament, including one for me earlier, which I was not really expecting.
Chat, we're at 2.
Wow. This is really, really clean 3,000 meters by King. I mean, this whole run has been really clean by King.
Yeah. Overall, the number of deaths for both
impressive.
players is pretty low, so I'm pretty sure they're very happy with how they played this race so far.
I think so. I think Shredberg's probably his main complaint will be that last Oshiro room where he just lost so much time.
Did you see if Shredberg went for the key skip?
I didn't. I think he skipped it. He didn't go for it. He did get a nice boost off of that moving block right now. So King does finish Summit with a 44:37, which for him, let's see what that is. That's like a minute 30. Wait, a minute 30? No, 2 minutes.
Yeah, if he was low 40, low 46.
I'm myself. I'm so bad at math right now. That's a really big PB. I'm not going to try to calculate it. Wow.
Yeah, all that matters is the PB, so congratulations on him on that.
Yeah, GG to King for that great PB right there. Awesome. That's fantastic. Whoa! Shredberg with a door skip. What the? And he's doing some celebratory jumps there. Was that a first try door skip?
I believe he tried it 1 or 2 other times.
Well, still, he got it.
Yeah, he got
That's
it.
Awesome.
It's very great. Good.
Run confirmed.
Yeah, validated.
That was hilarious to see him just jumping up and down at the end there.
King, GG.
Hey, thanks. That run was a mixture of emotions.
Yeah, run us through how you were feeling about that. It looked really clean from our side. You had very little number of deaths. Your movement was pretty solid overall.
Thanks. Yeah, overall I'm okay with that run. I've now officially gotten a 45, a 46, and a 44 now. So I don't know what's next.
Only way to go, man. is
43,
time.
please.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 33 deaths total. Not horrible.
33 deaths total, and a 44 time. That's really good, man. It looks like you're starting to incorporate some more speed strats into your run, and I think if you continue doing that, you're gonna definitely see a sub 40 before too long.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's my overall goal for Celeste. After sub 40, I don't see myself improving that much, but it still can happen. But I recently started watching Bentisi's tutorials, and before I was just doing my own stuff, so that's actually really helping out a lot now.
Oh, cool. I actually myself learned on Bentisi's videos. They're a really great foundation. I mean, there's a lot more stuff I've incorporated beyond that, but it's great to learn some new stuff.
Yeah, they're
Shout
really cool.
out to
They're really
Bentisi.
good.
I remember back when I thought that I would be happy with like a sub 45 or a sub 40, but you know, we'll see. You'll see what actually happens when you get there. You might actually feel compelled to go further. So Shredberg right now just reached. Let's see, what flag is that? It's flag 17 that he just hit. So he's in the outdraft section right now, making his way through. It's looking like a PB for Shredberg is probably not realistic at this point.
I don't think so. My heart broke when I saw my timer pass 44, like right on flag 1. I was so sad. I was like, no, it's gone.
Next time, man.
If I didn't go for door skip, by the way, that would have been a PB because, and the only reason I went for door skip was because I thought PB was way gone, and I looked at the stream and Shred was already like just starting chapter 7, so I was like, you know what, I'll just at least get the first door.
Yep.
And that's what I did. I at least got the first door, but then the second one kind of trolled me. So.
If you didn't get the first door, do you think you would have gone for more attempts at it, or?
Yeah, I made it a deal that since he was so far, like a little bit, quite a bit behind, like he was a couple sections behind, I was gonna give him some time to catch up by at least getting the first door.
Nice.
And going forward until then. But fun fact is that I got door skip in my race last night against Nerd Squared, but the restream crashed, so no one saw it. So I'm trying to make up for it.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
so that happened.
So this is kind of like me trying to make up for it. Eventually, I promise, I will I will eventually get door skip.
You will validate his runs.
I will validate my runs.
All the fans appreciate the attempt, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love these little celebratory like ducks and hops by Shredberg when he does some tough stuff.
Yeah,
like
I
he
think
just
that
got
one.
through flag 13 and he like with no problems, and he just like did some ducks there, just like
Yeah, I think that he accidentally messed up on that flag. Like he completed the section but didn't grab the flag and died. So I believe those were anger
Nice.
squats, which we can all get behind at some point.
I think I did those at one point too.
And it's just get that rage out and mash that down button.
Gotta match that Y, but I like how we're both playing on Switch too. I'm surprised nobody crashed.
Yeah. So does the game like crash often on Switch, or what's?
So whenever you're like loading or deloading a chapter, it has like I think a 10% chance to just crash and go back to the home menu on the Switch.
Oh wow.
So that's why most people don't run on Switch, but it's the only way I can get it. My PC isn't powerful enough to run this game.
So Shredberg on flag 4 right now. He is about a minute and a half away from being finished.
Yeah, and GG to him. And he recently got his time down just for this race. He wanted to hold the competition because before he had like I think a 56, and he got it down to a 49 right before we started racing today. So
That's really nice.
yeah, he put up a really good fight for it. I looked over after Resort and I saw that he was on Oshiro when I was on Oshiro, and I was a little scared.
You guys were pretty close overall. I think there was only a couple things that really broke you guys apart, but other than that, you were pretty close overall.
Yeah, overall, fairly good race.
So when is your next race?
Tomorrow with Valu.
Ooh.
And I'm going to hate myself.
Sorry, who did you say that was against?
Valu, and he has a 34.
Oh boy, that's first seed, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's he's first seed. He hasn't been playing in months though. Like he said, he hasn't been practicing, so I might have a chance. So,
All right, we'll see.
Shredberg. We're gonna bring Shredberg in here too.
GG man.
Yeah, GG, GG to both winners.
Thank you.
GG man. How's it going? Did you go for? I didn't get to look when you got to door skip. Did you go for it?
I
Got
did.
it.
I put.
Oh, you did it. Nice. You made up
did.
for my fails. Congratulations.
Oh, so you didn't get door skip then?
No, see, I looked at your screen.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
Like, you know what?
So-
I have time, so I went for. I made a deal that I would like continue going for it until I got the first door, and then I got
Okay.
trolled on the second door.
Well, that means that I won. So at least.
Okay.
the
He wins by 9 years.
room was validated by Doorskip.
Yeah, let's make that clear. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Alright,
was actually
so,
happy with my final room
my
of
stream
Oshiro.
is-
Was oh my
My
god.
stream is throwing up. Nice.
Yeah, that was painful to watch Shredberg to.
It was a minute and a half on just Oshiro. It was so frustrating.
Oh
'Cause, like-
really? I looked over after I finished Resort, and you were like on the second last screen of Oshiro, and I got really nervous for a second.
I was doing really well. Like that resort was one of my best until like that point. But
Yeah.
I think my
by
worst.
the time that Shredberg had finished Resort, you were already on the second checkpoint of Golden Ridge.
Oh, wow.
Actually,
Yeah.
and the big problem was that like every time you died in that last Oshiro room, you had already gotten through so much of the screen.
Yep.
That wastes like 20 to 30 seconds each time, and that happens a lot actually.
I died 8 times there. So, and like at least 5 of those, I was at least halfway through it. It was the worst.
So brutal.
But other than that, it was like that Theo section was really good. And for like once in my life on that eyeball section, I got all those dashes. So not the worst one I've ever had.
Yeah, same here. Mine's like in the middle. It wasn't horrible and it wasn't great. I golded Summit, which was cool. And I probably would have PB'd if I didn't go for door skip that much, but I just wanted to make it kind of close. But
I respect it.
Wait, did you say
Yeah,
you probably
yeah.
would have PB'd?
I would have PB for sure because I lost maybe seconds on door skip alone, and I missed PB by 30 seconds. No, 30 seconds exactly.
Oh, wait, what was your PB?
44.06. I got a 44.37, I think.
Oh boy! All right,
Ooh.
I had the wrong PB for you going into this race. So
Yeah, we
Yeah,
thought you
that's-
had a low
there's a lot of-
46.
Yeah, there was a lot of people saying like, "Hey, congrats on your PB after the run." I was like, "I didn't PB."
Dude, I blame that all on my misinformation. I thought
Dude.
you had a 46 or 9.
It was also
I
funny to look
apologize.
over it. Like, it's the worst thing to look over at chat, and all you see is King Jace choking right now, and you're like, "Oh."
Oh yeah.
I actually saw
Oh.
that in chat, but I didn't quite.
That's one of
know
my
what they were
viewers,
talking
the
about.
new one or the new two. So shout out to him. But overall, I think my run was okay. I think the worst parts was definitely Resort. I lost like 30 seconds alone in Mirror Temple, and Reflection was also pretty bad. So like those 3 sections overall were the downfall for me from not getting a PB.
And the 4th one of not getting door skip as well.
Oh, the door skip was just a meme at the point. At the point, I didn't even care what time I got. I just wanted to do it for the fans. Like,
Do it for the fans.
do it for the memes.
Shred, do you have your next race scheduled already?
Yeah, it's tomorrow. I think it's at 10. It's at 10 or 11 Eastern against King Captain. So
Ooh,
got
he
2
beat me.
kings straight.
He beat me by like 4 minutes when we both PB'd in our match.
Yeah, I already got my first win. I only expected 1 win out of this tournament, so everything else is just whatever from this point out.
Well, the good news is I got 2 wins, and I'm gonna have 2 losses tomorrow because of Value. So I'm all good. But good race, man. Good race.
Yeah,
GG.
great race, guys. That was fun to commentate.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna finish up here. Do you guys have any closing thoughts? Starting with King.
I hate door skip. Door skip cost me the PB. Just want everybody to know that. Probably could have 43'd if I didn't do door skip. So, for those who say door skip saves 9 years, it doesn't.
I might catch a little flack for saying this, but you don't have to go for it.
I know. And the only reason I went for it, I talked to Shred before this race, and I was like, "Are you gonna go for door skip?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go for it." I was like, "Okay, tell you what, if I'm if I'm pretty far ahead, I will go for door skip until I get the first door at least." And then I did it. So I stuck by my word. I'm not a liar. I'm a Canadian, so I don't lie.
Yeah, no, I did say you were like, "Are you gonna go for door skip?" I was like, "Well, if you're super far ahead, I will." And like, that's what I expected to happen. And so I literally was like, I finished up chapter 6. I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot I was gonna do that. How am I supposed to know where he is?" So I'd like pull up the street in those 2 seconds. But yeah, door skip, easy, 3rd try every time, no problem.
I think
But
it
yeah,
was
that's
first try for me to get the door. So
Yep, exactly.
yeah,
So,
overall
do you
good
have-
race. And
Do you have any other closing thoughts, Shred, before we let you go?
No, not really. Just yeah, hopefully next time I don't spend, a minute and a half at the last screen of Oshiro. That's pretty much it.
I think we all want that.
Yeah, I think it might have been more than a minute and a half. Either way, it was a long time.
I also spent a lot of time on strats that I didn't know because I watched Ben Teese's tutorial during summer school today, and I was like, I'm gonna try this in my run tonight. And so I tried
That's a recipe for success right there.
Yeah, it was like one of the cycle skips in chapter 3, and that's what made me lose a lot of time.
So, Bird, you got anything you want to finish us up with?
So I'll just say thanks to the runners. GG's everyone. That was really fun. And we do have more Celeste coming up in just 25 minutes on this very channel. Let's see what we got. I believe we have a 4-way race between, not a 4-way race, but a 4-way with 2 races.
2
one between,
1v1s.
Right. One between the Sky Rage and Chocolate Cake 50,000, and also between AK Biggs and Revolution. Definitely tune in for that one. Revolution is always fun to watch, if nothing else.
Revo is great at the game.
Yeah, so
Great, and also just like so creative for the strats. It's really fun.
I just want to say 2 quick things before we finish off.
Yeah, sure.
For good. Shoutouts to Cyclone for the name for my file name, Meet More Good.
We were wondering about that if Shred gave that to you because he was
Cyclone.
We were playing with that.
Yeah, Cyclone gave me it because he didn't give me it. I decided to do it because he said no one used this file name that he gave for a Link to the Past randomizer earlier. So I was like, you know what? I'll do you a favor, bro. I got you. And then thank you, you guys for commentating. I'm excited to look back at the VOD and see what commentary you guys came up with.
It was a pleasure commentating. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. There's a couple more things that are going on the Speed Gaming channels. First of all, go ahead and follow the Speed Gaming channels. Always running races just like this one. On Speed Gaming original channel, Super Metroid is going to be on at 11. More Celeste is going to be on at 11:30 on Speed Gaming 3. I believe I'm going to be commentating that one. And Mega Man X is going on right now on Speed Gaming 2. So if you're interested in any of those, you can go ahead and check those out. Also, be sure to give our runners a follow. They put on a big show for us tonight and show some appreciation for them. Very good race. Also, go ahead and give Bird of Prey a follow. Very good commentary throughout this whole thing. Don't think I could have made it through it without his assistance.
Oh, thanks, man. But you should give Mike a follow too, because he's also cool.
Hey, thanks, man. Right,
And
so,
we can't toot our own horns, so we'll toot each other's.
There you go.
Okay.
Alright, on that note, I hope everybody has a good night, and
Bye,
Good
guys.
night, everyone. Thanks for watching.